finally got a new printer. So let's go ahead and unbox my new printer. This is the Epson EcoTank E8550, and let's go ahead and open it. That didn't work. Maybe I should use an actual box cutter. Oh, it smells new. So let's see what we have in here. So it comes with a CD, it looks like, and some instructions. It smells like ink, actually. That makes sense because there's definitely ink in here. So these are the instructions to start with. So first step is to unpack. So let's start there. And this CD is for, I guess this is the software, but it looks like it's just for Windows. And I have a Mac, so I'm assuming I'm gonna have to download my software online, but that's okay. I'm not even sure if that computer has a CD-ROM drive. You know, they don't make computers with CD-ROM drives anymore. What is this bag for? It's to get rid of, what is this for? A backup printer of some sort. All this stuff to the side. Okay, all right, I'm gonna need to move. Okay, boy. Okay, so this here, over here must be the ink. Yeah, this is definitely the ink in there. So I'm gonna set this to the side for now. All this packing stuff, and try not to get all this styrofoam everywhere. I will say it's very well protected. Should I rotate this? Would this be easier for you guys to see? Let's try that way. Oh my gosh, this is way bigger than my, oh gosh, it's heavy. Wait, this is actually quite, oh my god, that's heavy. Wait, let's just sit this here for now. So I'm gonna pack all this other stuff, except for the ink and the directions that I need. Let's just put everything in there for now and move this out of the way.
So once I got the printer out of the box, I set it up on my table and I just started removing all of the tape and the cellophane. This thing was like really taped up. Like they shipped it pretty secure and there was tape everywhere to the point where I was like looking into every crevice trying to find the tape. It was a lot.
What is this for? There's more stuff in here. I'm so confused. Girl. I have no idea. What's in here? Just fit in here.
I will say one good thing about all of the tape and stuff that I had to find in the printer is that it got me really used to the printer. And what I mean by that is like it got me more comfortable and feeling like I'm not gonna like break anything. So I was pulling out all the little pieces and like deconstructing the printer in some ways. And I feel like that was really helpful for me to feel more comfortable actually using it. One of the reasons why I chose this printer is that they are not ink cartridges. You actually get individual bottles of ink that you can refill yourself, and I really love that. And it's also 6 different ink containers. So you have black, gray, cyan, yellow, magenta, and then they have photo black. And filling up the ink containers was actually pretty fun. You just take the top off and put the little nozzle into the hole. And I read online somewhere that you won't make the mistake of putting the wrong color in the wrong container because I think each notch only fits into that particular container that it's supposed to go in. So that's pretty cool. Don't quote me on that, but that's what I think I heard somewhere. So that was actually kind of cool, filling up each of the containers. And I was a little scared that it would like spill everywhere, but it actually the ink only released once it was correctly inserted into the hole, so that was pretty cool. And the setup from this point was pretty simple. There's an app on the phone that you download and you're able to just walk through step by step. They literally show you step by step like how to set everything up. And then I printed out all my alignment sheets. And that part was pretty simple as well. The only thing I will say, I was a little confused about the alignment and what they were asking for at different points as far as like, does this line look like this? Do these lines look like that? So there was a point where I was a little confused and not sure of like which ones to pick. But as I really looked at it and just kind of used my design eye, I was able to figure out which ones were the correct ones and went on from there. I tried to download the software for my Mac and then I got this dreaded screen on the Epson website. So yeah.
So this is the display screen.
where I can go through and check, like do maintenance, connect to my phone. I think I can use like an app or whatever to do my phone, printing from my phone. I'm gonna try to set up the app on my computer, but the website is down now, so I can't install the software that I need. Let me put this back. Oh, this kind of expands a bit more. That's cool. How the heck do you put this back in here? How do you put this back? Okay, that's fun. Oh, you just press this little button here. You press this output tray button to put this back. And I want to show really quickly how I loaded the paper because I didn't get a chance to show that before. It pretty much just goes in here, and these little things you can move. I'm trying to do this with one hand. This is not gonna work, but these you can kind of move like this and open them up to fit the different size papers that you need. And so I just loaded the paper in here like that. And once I pushed it up, this thing kind of automatically detects that this is cassette number 2, and you can select your paper size. And that's kind of cool. It's letter size, and you can also select the paper type that you have. So that's that. I think I selected the wrong thing. There you go. Plain paper. And for cassette number 2, I was a little concerned earlier because when I pulled it out, it like came out and I couldn't figure out how to get it back in there. But there's like a little, I guess, tray that it slides in, and it kind of clicks itself. And when I push that in, it automatically detects that cassette number 1, and you can select your different paper size and the paper type there too. So that's pretty cool. Close that up for now. Once I get the software and everything installed on my computer, I'll go ahead and do some test prints. I bought some paper. Let me show you that real quick. So this is the paper that I got. It's 8 by 10. I really wanted to print borderless, so I got the 8 by 10 paper because the art prints that I am printing are 8 by 10. At least that's the size that I want to print to start with. So I got the 8 by 10 so I can try out the borderless. I'm excited for that. So yeah, I'll go ahead and print some of my artwork and play around with the settings and see like how much more I need to change there. But this is really cool. Let me know if you guys want to see more videos like this in the future. And maybe I'll make this a series of me just like trying out different papers and sizes and really experimenting with this printer, because it prints up to like 13 by 9 borderless, and I can print, you know, different types of things. So I'm really excited about that. It's the next day and the website is finally working, so I was able to finally download the software onto my computer. The setup was pretty quick. It didn't take super long, and it pretty much was the same thing that I walked through on my phone, with just adding the printer and downloading all of the drivers and things like that. So that process went pretty smooth. So once I added the printer and did the setup, they printed some test pages, and just to make sure everything was working and everything was connected. And this literally took like 5 minutes maybe.
So that's cool. There's like a little light on there. That's actually really, really cool. What?
So at first I used the Epson software that comes with the drivers to do some test prints. And this is what that screen looks like. And for my first test print, it was really important for me to test a variation of different prints just to kind of see what the quality looks like. But more important than that, I wanted to see what this printer looked like on plain printer paper. I really wanted to see how I would print my art on just base level plain paper. And I feel like the quality was pretty good, and it actually printed really, really quickly. I haven't sped this up at all. This whole printing process is shown here, and you see how quick that was. So here we go. Here are 4 of my more recent designs that I have made, and I think the quality came out really good considering this is plain paper. So I also going to try the Epson paper that I brought, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a minute in our 2-month update. So it's been about 2 months since I got this new printer, and I'm actually glad that it took me a while to put the video out, because now I get to do a 2-month update. And ignore my skin up here because we went on vacation and I got like a sunburn, and my skin is literally peeling, like on my forehead, on my chest. It's just like peeling. So just ignore that if you can see it. If you can't, then it's fine. You didn't see it. So, okay, 2-month update. So one of the first things I want to talk about was why I need to get the printer. Spoiler alert, I'm going to post about this soon, but I did my first art market. And one of the things that I was trying to figure out with the art market was if I should just purchase prints, if I should just get them printed from somewhere else and just order them, or if I should print them myself. And I did the cost analysis and all my spreadsheets and stuff. And I realized it just made more sense for me to just invest in a quality printer and print the art myself. So that's what I did. So I also want to talk about what exactly I use for printing. As you guys saw in the video, I use this Epson paper, this premium presentation paper mat, 4-star. So this is the 8x10. I got this one because I really wanted to print borderless. I didn't want to have to worry about trimming a bunch of art prints. So this was important. In addition to that, I also got this cardstock paper from Amazon. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a minute too. Because what I've learned with this printer is that it's really, really important to have the correct settings. And I'm going to show you what I mean. So as you guys saw with this paper from the video, this is just a plain printer paper, art print, right? Colors looked pretty good for some plain paper. I was excited. I'm like, okay, we got this. We can do this. But when I went to print with that Epson paper, I realized my settings were incorrect because this is what I was getting. And I don't know if you can tell on screen, but it's a little ashy. You know, it's a little washed out. The colors aren't quite right. Even compared to this, I don't know if you can see, but even the colors are worse on here. So a few things that I noticed and I realized. One, I was printing on the wrong side of the paper because with this paper, I'm going to show you, there are two sides. You have a front and the back side, which is, I'm not used to that because me, beginner printer printing on my own, I'm not used to like actual like quality papers where you print art. So I will pull out a sheet real quick so you guys can see. So this is the back side. It's more yellowish. And this is the front. It's a little more white. I don't know if you can see that on screen as much, but that's something I had to figure out first off, doing my research to see about which was the front side and which was the back side. And on top of that, figuring out which side goes down first. So it's front side down, just so you know. And I literally had to write it on this paper so I can remember. And I put front. Place face down, and I put the settings that I use for this paper. So you place this face down inside of the printer. So I figured that part out. So first thing, make sure you're printing on the right side. That was my first issue. But my second issue was something that I was trying to figure out how to fix. This is my first test print. This is my second test print. See, they still look alike. This is my third test print. And each time I printed, the colors, they wouldn't fix. And I was so concerned because I'm like, I have this market coming up. I have so many prints that I need to make. What am I going to do? So a little freaked out. So each time I printed, I literally wrote down exactly what settings I used. So for these, I was using the media type, photographic matte, and print quality. I even wrote down how long it took for each one of these to print. And each of these printed in about 2 minutes and 30 seconds, 2.5 minutes, if you guys were curious, which is a lot slower than what it took to print on that plain printer paper, which makes sense because this is a different quality of paper. The ink is going to absorb a little different in that paper, and the printer has to take time to make sure it prints correctly so the ink absorbs. So eventually, what I realized, I was using the wrong settings. So I was printing on the photographic, photo matte paper. That's the setting I was using. And I realized that was a mistake. So essentially, I was initially printing using my preview app on the Mac. If you have a Mac, then you know, like that's like the photo app. But then I ended up going and printing from Photoshop. That was another thing. So I printed from Photoshop instead. I changed my settings. I made sure all my presets were, I have presets, color, feed from auto. So that's the cassette type. That's the cassette it's going to pull from. Media type auto, I set that to auto, and then I set quality to best. And for color management, I made sure I put color handling for Photoshop to handle it because I already have my settings set up. And printer profile, I use obviously the Epson sRGB. And with those settings, also another thing I didn't realize, so I am printing on 8x10, but most of my prints, they're like 18x24 prints. So the DPI is like 300. But this printer can handle up to like 700 something DPI or 1500, some crazy amount. It might even be 1500. So I found a guy on YouTube who I will put his link down below because I watched so many of his videos. He is like an expert on the Epson printer, especially this one, 8550, because he has like so many videos and I watched them and they were actually really helpful. Because one of the things I learned in one of his videos is that when it comes to the DPI, it can handle a certain level of DPI. So if you have the capabilities to print at a higher DPI as opposed to 300, do that because that's going to help with your graininess and give you like a crisper finish. That's something I learned. So if I'm printing 8x10, that means I can increase my DPI. That makes sense. I know, I feel like it might be gibberish for some people. But anyway, I ended up printing at 675 DPI and it came out way better. So if you are running into the issue with the printer and not being able to figure out, the quality settings and it doesn't look like how you want it to look, I recommend checking your settings and doing some troubleshooting and pretty much making a list of each change you make so you know exactly what you need to do. And also printing from Photoshop if that is your thing. Like if you're printing art prints, maybe try to print from Photoshop if you can. And this is what it looks like. You see how different that looks? This is what we had. And now this is what we have. That's a big difference. I know you can see that difference on here. So I'll even put them side by side. Here. The difference is like night and day. So this is the quality that you get with the Epson 8550. Very, very vibrant, very beautiful with the right settings. And so that is what I learned about this printer. It's my first like big girl printer, as an artist. So I really, really enjoy printing out my own art. And that's something I'm learning about myself. I really enjoyed it. I enjoy getting to do test prints instead of having to like order them and wait for them to come back and then like, oh my gosh, it's not right. Order another one or try to tweak it and hope for the best. So I would say the investment was definitely worth it. Just make sure you're checking your settings. Make sure you have the right paper for what you need it for. Another thing I want to say, because I did get this paper also from Amazon, this cardstock. And I did have a slight issue when I was trying to print on the cardstock with trying to get the settings correctly. But then I got to the point where I realized like for what I needed it for, it was fine. But I was printing these affirmation cards for the art market, and I'll show some of them here. So we have this one, Faith Over Fear. These little cute affirmation cards, like positive affirmation cards. This is like a nice scripture card. But the colors are not as vibrant on this paper as they are on my screen. They look fine. And I actually kind of like the more muted color. Once I looked at it, I think it's fine for what I need it for because it is more of like a calming affirmation style card. So I think it's fine. But what I will say, if I'm doing other types of cards, greeting cards, whatever type of cards, right? And you want your colors to really match exactly how you want them to, I do recommend getting your paper from some place that has like printer drivers. So they have settings that match the paper so you can make sure you get the correct color settings and color quality. And through my research, I would recommend Red River. I think it's called Red River. I'll put it on the screen if that's not correct. I haven't purchased from them and I was going to purchase from them, but I procrastinated and I waited too late to get the paper that I wanted for this market. So I had to just order on Amazon. But one thing during my research, I pretty much realized that you can get the paper from there, and they have different drivers to help you. So the quality should be good. So that's something to think about. One thing I didn't talk about in the video is there are 2 or 3 trays essentially, right? So the 2 I showed you, you have the regular like bottom tray. There's one right above for like smaller prints or like photos. And there's actually one on like the top and back side of the printer where you can print like thicker papers. And that's pretty much what I use for these. And I also love that I was able to print double-sided and put my logo and website and stuff like that on there. So that was pretty cool. But I'll post more about that in another video about the art market. But I just want to come and give a 2-month update, things I've learned over the last couple of months. I was going to put this in the second video, but I think what I'm going to do is as I continue to work with this printer and use this printer, I'll do a 6-month update in the future and give you guys the tea on what I've learned and different things. So that's pretty much it, y'all. So yeah, I recommend, doing some research, looking around on YouTube. There are tons of like videos out there to talk about the settings and things like that. If that's something that you guys want me to talk about more about the settings that I use and actually showing and walking through some of those things, just let me know down below. I'll definitely either respond in the comments or in another video. So yeah, any questions you guys have about this particular printer, just let me know. I think it was definitely worth it. It's definitely an investment, but I feel like it's worth it for future growth as me as an artist and a creator and a creative and an entrepreneur. So I'm really excited to do more with this, and I'm actually excited to print my prints. I'm gonna show you guys some more of the stuff that I printed. Hold on one second. And here's just a few. These are, here's one I did. So this is like another test print I did. I did a grid in Photoshop where I'll just set up like a bunch of different prints at once. So I'm not using a lot of ink and a lot of paper. And then I get like, I guess you call it a contact sheet of all my stuff. And I'll know exactly how I need to tweak each one as far as the colors and things like that. So that was helpful. This is turned into a different type of video. But this is some of the art that I printed. I have Walking on Water, Journey Through the Garden, Butterfly Goddess. This is just a few of the prints. So yeah, just wanted to showcase that. And I highly recommend this printer. Obviously, as I am still using it and working with it, I'll have more things to talk about with it. But that's all I wanted to show you guys. I want to show you guys the art prints, the setup, and just give you guys an update on things that I have experienced while working with this printer. I do recommend, like as an artist, especially if you're selling your art prints, to invest in a printer if possible, if feasible for you, investing in a printer and taking the time to do research to figure out like which printer is going to be good for your needs. I think that's really helpful. So one of the things I would say again that I loved about this is that I can print borderless. Like I didn't have to trim these. These are 8x10. I will say one thing real quick. It does, when you're printing borderless, you get some cropping obviously around the edge. So don't put anything too important around the edge because you may lose some top, the bottom, and the sides. It does tend to zoom in a bit more just to get that borderless edge. So if that is not a problem for you, I recommend printing borderless. Otherwise, just print on a larger size paper and trim it. And this printer prints up to 13x9 borderless. So it should be good for most people's needs. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video, y'all. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you comment down below and let me know if you want to hear more about the printer and printing art prints and doing stuff from home as an artist or, a designer. What other type of products you want me to test out printing, because I have some ideas of some stuff that I am planning to print on. But yeah, go ahead and like and subscribe if you like more videos like this. I didn't even introduce myself. My name is Kourtney and I'm an artist, and this has been my YouTube journey of just like exploring different parts of my art and me as a creative and transitioning from just a digital artist to just an artist in general. So I am like trying all types of new things. If you're into art, illustration, clay, just creativity in general, positivity and affirmations, and just hearing people talk and share insight and advice on life in general, go ahead and subscribe. You're going to like it here. So yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Peace. I just realized I didn't do my Magik Jem for today. So you know what? Since it's right here, joy to the world. Be a joy to the world. Put joy out into the world. And enjoy the world. That was so corny. But this one was in my hand. So that's the Magik Jem for today. The little positive affirmation. Joy to the world.